These are the plays that are going to give you the highest probability of winning today. This is the Daily Profit brought to you by Linemaker Sports. In today's show, we're going to go over Thursday night football between the Commanders and the Eagles, and also make sure you guys wait to the end because we are going to go over an event that some of you just might find interesting that is going to be taking place on Friday. Now, before we get to that, let's talk about what happened yesterday. Yesterday's F-bombs, let's talk about those. We had Zach LaVine, 75% probability for him to go over 24.5 points, rebounds, and assists. He crushed that one. He hit that by halftime, so that was no sweat whatsoever. Then we went to the highest probability of the day, which was Boston Celtics' Jaylen Brown. He had an 87% probability to go over 29.5 points, rebounds, and assists. It's always iffy when you're going with the second option on the team because we know Jason Tatum's obviously the number one option there. But Jaylen Brown, he crushed that as well. He had like 27 PRA at half. So there was no sweat that he was going to be able to hit that in the second half. Now, we looked like we were on our way to a sweep, but Donovan Mitchell had to come in and ruin that party for us as he had a 75% probability to go under 36.5 points, rebounds, and assists. He had 5 points at halftime, so it looked like we were on the path to get there. And then the game stayed close, and Donovan Mitchell ended up going off like he normally does, and he racked up a decent amount of rebounds and assists along with that. So he ended up killing our sweep there. And then across the show, we had LeBron James to go over, I think it was 34.5 points, rebounds, and assists. He absolutely obliterated that one. He had a great game last night. And then Anthony Edwards, we had to go over 33.5. He fell one short again in the same matchup that he did the prior night to us. So burned us on back-to-back nights for Anthony Edwards. He just hasn't had good shooting nights. The last two nights, if he just knocked in an extra bucket or two, we end up winning those plays. So really nothing that you can do there. There's just nothing you can do when it comes down to a couple buckets deciding whether you're going to win or lose. So time to move on to today. Let's talk about Thursday night football. Before we get to that, let's talk about one of the most important things. Tomorrow is Friday. There is a $2,000 giveaway now that we're doing for Friday tomorrow because the last winner did not respond. So all you have to do is comment GOAT down below and make sure that you're subscribed. As long as you do both of those things, you are entered into win. So make sure you do that because it's very important. Tomorrow is the day somebody's going to have $2,000 to spend over the weekend. So make sure that you put yourself in the position to win. Now let's talk about the Eagles versus the Commanders. We're going to talk about pretty much overall stats first, and then we'll go in detail a little bit. So right off the top, the Eagles, they're 7th in scoring. The Commanders are 3rd in scoring. So you look at it, the public looks at it. They see a total that's like 48-49 right now. Two of the highest scoring teams in the NFL. The public's already thinking, what? Probably, maybe this is going to be an over bet, right? Not so fast. You got to look further into detail with stuff, which brings me to the defense here. The Commanders, they're 12th in defense, so middle of the pack, a little bit better than middle of the pack. Eagles, one of the best defenses in the league, not surprising there. And then when we go to the pass defenses, Commanders are 5th best in pass D, and the Eagles are 3rd best in pass D. That right there is pretty crucial because that could limit your points right there. Because if you have great pass defenses and now it navigates to they want to run the ball and have more success running the ball, that clock's going to tick. Your over-under number with a high number, it's going to be harder to hit. So just take that into calculation if right off the top you were looking at tonight's game and you're thinking it's going to be a shootout. Just relax on that one. But let's take a look at where there is some vulnerability tonight in the Commanders' defense. It's going to be the rushing defense. They are 28th in the league in rushing defense, so not good when it comes to that. Think about who's on the opposing side there tonight, and that right there could be something to look at. The Eagles, they have the 5th best rushing defense. So one of the best rushing defenses and one of the best pass defenses. So Eagles defense overall, very good. Going against a rookie quarterback tonight. So remember that. Even though Jaden Daniels is looking really, really good, he's still a rookie. Going against one of the best pass defenses and overall defenses tonight. Now, the Eagles' pass offense, obviously not impressive. They're 20th. They don't really focus on passing the ball too much. They're more of a running team. So that's not too good for the Commanders, put it that way, with being one of the worst rush defenses in the league. The Commanders' pass offense is 11th best in the league. Jaden Daniels, like I said, has played pretty well. He hasn't had too many like explosive games where he's went for like 300 passing yards and whatnot, but he's had some decent games for sure. And then when we get to the rushing offenses, this is where the teams kind of flourish. So the Commanders, they're fourth best in rushing offense, and the Eagles are second best in rushing offense. Now, the thing with the Commanders is tonight, Brian Robinson Jr. should be coming back. So Austin Eckler is going to have to kind of take a back seat, but Austin Eckler has been doing very, very well in the absence of Brian Robinson Jr. So we don't really know how the snaps are going to go there because Austin Eckler definitely deserves to get in on some snaps for sure. And pretty much think that Brian Robinson is going to take that starting role back, but Austin Eckler has earned the shot to get, if not equal amount of carries, definitely a decent amount of carries for sure. And then behind them, they have third stringers that are actually very good. Rodriguez and McLaughlin, I think that's his name, McLaughlin. They're very good as well, so they're pretty stacked at running back. And so there's no surprise that they're the fourth best rushing team out there, along with Jaden Daniels, who does like to scramble, and he likes to pick up yards on the ground as well. So definitely something to look out for tonight when it looks, when you're looking at running back player props for the Commanders. I would probably just lay off if you were thinking about looking at those at all, which I really wouldn't be because if you're looking, you're definitely not going to look at the over because they're going against one of the best rush defenses in the league. But even the unders, we don't know how the snaps are going to play. We don't know if they're going to go 50-50 between Robinson and Eckler, or it's going to be like 70-30. We don't really know how that's going to play out because Eckler's played pretty well, so he definitely deserves to get some snaps and not just take a back seat and be sitting the whole entire game. So definitely something to pay attention to see how that works out. But I would advise if you're thinking about running back player props, probably laying off those tonight for the Commanders. Let's go ahead and talk about some in detail stuff. So the Eagles, they give up the fourth least amount of stats to opposing quarterbacks, meaning pass touchdowns, passing yards, rushing yards by a quarterback. They give up the fourth least. So, again, they're going against a rookie quarterback. Jaden Daniels has looked fantastic this year. He's looked like the rookie of the year so far. But going against a great defense, a definitely vetted defense for sure, we're going to have to see how he performs there. The Eagles, they give up the second least amount of stats to opposing running backs. So this takes us to that whole situation with the running backs for the Commanders again, where you're definitely not going to probably take an over at all with any of those running backs. But the unders could be in consideration, but like I said, it's just tough because we don't know how the snap count's going to go. I mean, it could go decent on a Brian Robinson under if Eckler gets half of those snaps. So we just don't know. We don't know how that's going to go. I would definitely monitor maybe on the internet and see if closer to game time they release anything about how the snap count's going to go between those two. But off of early in the day, there's really nothing you can do about that. All right, the Commanders, they give up the 12th most stats to opposing running backs. So who's on the other side? That would be Saquon Barkley. So that might be something to definitely look at tonight, is how Saquon Barkley would look going against the Commanders. But there is some decent probabilities in this game for the quarterbacks. So Hurts has a 66% probability to go under 250 plus passing yards. So a decent probability there going against a good pass defense where they don't focus on the pass too often. If they're having success, if the Eagles are having success on the ground, they are going to pound it on the ground. They are not going to air it out if they can get away with just running the ball. Jaden Daniels has a 70% probability to go under 250 plus passing yards. Now, again, comes to they're going against one of the best defenses. He's a rookie quarterback. Could he surpass the 250 mark? He definitely could. If somehow he ends up having one of those nights where it just seems like every throw he's making is just falling in the breadbasket of his receivers. But the probability is there, and you're going against a tough defense, and you're a rookie quarterback. I like that play. I definitely do like that play. I like both of them, to be honest, because like I said, if the Eagles are having success on the ground, they're not going to air it out. There's no reason for them to. Which looks like the Eagles should have success on the ground for sure, going against one of the weaker rush defenses in the league. So that kind of, the game script for that sets up for the Eagles to be just pounding it the whole entire game. As for, that doesn't set up very well for Daniels, because then if their Eagles have a lead and they're pounding the ball, Daniels going to have to try to throw that ball. But still, going against one of the best pass defenses in the league, still the probability is there. So when you want to look at stuff like this, like the prop plays, guys, when things line up on both ends, when probabilities are good and the defenses that they're going at, and you're on an under, you're there. You could just roll with it. The probability will always be there, and it'll back it up. So definitely tonight in the Eagles-Commanders matchup, if you were thinking on the top layer to just go with the over, there was some stuff that we dove into here that might have took you off of thinking that, maybe saved you some money if this turns into being one of those games where the Eagles just try to pound it on the ground, time of possession, and just run that game. We'll see what happens tonight, but there is some probabilities, like I said, for you guys in that game tonight, so that way you guys could see that stuff. Now, let's get to something that's interesting that's happened on Friday. We got Mike Tyson going against Jake Paul. So there is a decent amount of people out there that have asked me to kind of break this down a little bit, so that way we could see what's going to happen here. I always advise these are like entertainment bets, guys. You can't go and bet crazy amounts of money on stuff like this because you just never know the way it's going to go. But let's look off the odds of it real quick. And you can only find these on certain books. There's a decent amount of books that have this stuff, but here's the odds that I was able to find. So Paul, he's minus 210 to win, and Mike Tyson's plus 180. Now, the over-under here for rounds is 5.5 is what I found at most sports books. The over is plus 100, and the under is minus 120. Here are some rules that you need to know because this isn't just a traditional boxing match. They're using 14-ounce gloves, and there's only going to be 8 rounds, and the 8 rounds are only going to be 2 minutes apiece. So usually in boxing, they're 3 minutes apiece. These are going to be 2-minute rounds, so pretty much 16 minutes. That equates to about 5 rounds in a real boxing fight. A little bit less, but I mean a little bit less, but because that's 15 minutes if you do 5 rounds. But we're at 16 minutes here. It's about 5 rounds in a real fight. So definitely something to look at there, as in they're using bigger gloves. I mean, you got Mike Tyson, he's almost 60 years old. Jake Paul, we don't know what type of contract clauses and stuff that they put in their contract. I'm surprised that you can really wager on this on a decent amount of sports books because you just don't know. This is almost like an exhibition, even though they're saying it's a sanctioned fight. It's somewhat like an exhibition. So me personally, if I'm looking at this and like you want something to bet on to find some entertainment when it comes to this, I would think somewhere in the range of, there's one bet that I've seen out there as knockdowns. It's like under 1.5 knockdowns, meaning that somebody's going to get, if they get knocked down twice, that you lose that bet. With 14-ounce gloves in only 2-minute rounds, I don't see anybody getting knocked down at all, almost, to be honest, because like, I don't know. I mean, I just don't see, unless Jake Paul goes in there and is swinging haymakers at Mike Tyson and trying to really knock him out, which I don't think he's going to be trying to do that. I wouldn't think so. But we'll see. We'll see what happens there. It's, like I said, this is an entertainment type bet. If you guys want to go out there and have some money on it to watch it, it's on Netflix. So most people could be able to watch it. A lot of people are going to be watching it, so obviously people are going to want action on it. But don't go crazy, because sometimes people go crazy and put thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on meaningless fights like this, and you end up just losing your money when you could be doing and putting that stuff elsewhere. Let's get to the F-bombs for tonight. There's a 77% probability F-bomb in the NFL and a 75% F-bomb in the NHL. There's no NBA tonight. There's only one game, so there's really not much to go off of for the NBA. So the NBA is kind of a day off. But if you guys want those, make sure you go in the description and click the link. It's that simple. You join the group, match up the percentages, and guess what? You make money. It's that simple, guys. All you got to do is go in the description, click the link, join the group, and you guys will be in there. You'll be a part of the Linemaker group. And if you want coaching with me one-on-one so I can teach you exactly how I come up with all these probabilities that I show you on a daily basis, click the link in the description as well.